Get your butt out of the chair! Let's make some noise! Yeah. Oh! Ow! Come on, let's hear it! Come on, make some noise! There we go! All right, bring it! Are you ready? Yes! Go, bro! Ow! All right. I can see some of you chose to wear red today between your eyelids. Remember what Eric said, don't be tempted by Vegas. Guess it happened for a few. Good morning, GoPro. Are you ready to rock? I will tell you, we are kicking this off, this morning session here on Friday morning, in such a powerful way. But let me share a couple of thoughts as we get started. Appius Claudius, the Roman politician about 2,300 years ago, said, so understand, 2,300 years ago, he wasn't as politically correct. He said, every man is the architect of his own fortune. Obviously, today in this room, the power is, as we saw the statistics, it is everyone. Because in our profession, it makes no difference your gender, it makes no difference your political or spiritual beliefs, your ethnicity, your background, your age, your height, weight, it makes no difference. Everyone is the architect of their own fortune, but it is your responsibility to accept the responsibility of creating that fortune. In fact, Abraham Lincoln is credited with saying, the best way to predict your future is to create it. I promise you, we're kicking off this morning with a woman you will not forget. She is a powerhouse, and she is going to hit it head on and right between the eyes and provide you the kinds of things that as you then move forward with you and your teams to create that greatness that all of you deserve, you are going to be well armed. It's really exciting for me to be able to introduce our first mentors because I've not met her before, but I have kind of. As I told her backstage a short time ago, about 2 or 2.5 years ago, I was surfing through TED Talks, things about mindset and personal development and growth, how to create more power and control between your own ears. And one thing led to another, and I saw this title, How to Stop Screwing Yourself Over. And I thought, well, that's what I need to do. So let's go. And I was able to see a TED Talk that in 19 minutes, just blew me away because of its practicality, but its power and substance. It's had over 7 million views and growing. And she is an extraordinary individual. She'll probably tell you her greatest accomplishment. She's a mother of 3, a 4th-generation entrepreneur, a speaker and author. She is right now the most booked female speaker in the world. But if you are looking for something, a way. See, as we bring to the stage throughout this time, these top mentors, and you see people who are achieving or have achieved success at such a high level, one of the things that I've learned from many of them that I've known for a long time, some I just meet before we bring out onto the stage, is that all of them got to that result because they paid the price. They may have paid it in this profession. You'll hear stories of some who, started in network marketing and they hit the 6-figure earning level in 4 or 5 months, $1 million level in 12 or 15 months. And people think, wow, I could never do that. But if you hear the whole story, it's because they spent nearly a decade or more of preparation before. The preparation has to exist. There is no ill-prepared magic wonderkin that goes to the top. And so if you're in a situation where you've not had that experience before of great success, even outside the profession, you've not yet had it here, one of the things is you have got to become what ultimately it must be that you become to be able to create what you deserve or what you wish to deserve. That's the growth process. So if you want more confidence and courage and control, then get ready, because she's going to bring you a thought and a concept that she developed of how to be able to do that. If you've been always overwhelmed and held back, my fear, the thing I love about her approach, it cuts right through the BS of the crap we run around in our mind to get to the real truth of what it is that holds us back. And so if you want to create those things, more confidence, courage, and control, like that, literally 5 seconds or less. In fact, if not in 5 seconds, you missed the boat. But that fast. and all of you can do it literally here this morning, then you are about to have an extraordinary experience. She is not only a successful entrepreneur, she has literally coached around the world. She's a CNN analyst. She's a contributing author to Success Magazine. And most importantly, when she brings it with heart and passion. But she's also brought a very quick introductory video that we want to share with you just before we get on our feet and bring her to stage the right way. But let's start with that video. Guys, if you'll go ahead and roll video. Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet. Bring to the stage in the GoPro way, the one and only Miss Mel Robbins.
Yes. All right. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm so fired up to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I want you to know I flew across country. I live outside of Boston, Massachusetts for a specific reason. Yes, Boston! I did it for you. That's right. I did it for you because I have a story to tell you. It's a story about building a business, building a marriage, chasing your dreams, facing failure and fear. It's a story about courage. And it's also a story about something remarkable. The power of 5-second decisions. I'm going to share with you something that is going to change your life. And I know you hear that a lot, but I'm not only going to share a story with you, I'm going to prove to you what I'm saying. Everything that I'm about to share with you will help you grow your business. It's going to help you recruit people to your teams. It's going to help you find incredible prospects. And the cool thing is guess what? It's easy to remember. It doesn't cost anything. And the second that you learn it, it will always be with you. I am going to show you. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to show you how to unlock the power inside of you in 5 seconds flat. This is the story of the 5-second rule. And it started 7 years ago. So 7 years ago, my life pretty much sucked. I was unemployed. My marriage was circling the drain. And my husband and I were facing bankruptcy. I mean, life looked totally different than it does now. And what happened, and this is just the real short version of it, is that my husband had decided to open up a restaurant business. I was all excited about it, so we threw in our life savings. We threw in our home equity line. And the first one that they opened, it was a really big success. And so what do you do in success? You keep growing, right? Well, the next one that they opened wasn't all that great. In fact, what happened is it started to look like this all the time. And soon enough, we were starting to realize the writing on the wall, which is the longer this thing was kept open, the more and more and more and more money was down the drain. And by the time we finally closed it, $800,000. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have that kind of pocket change. That meant our entire home equity line, the kids' college savings, all of it, gone, gone. Now, what's interesting about life and what's interesting about business is that you're always going to face a setback, right? There are always going to be things that happen to you. And the question is, how do you handle it? Now, the interesting thing is, my husband was really proactive. At 6 o'clock in the morning, when the alarm went off, he would spring out of bed and he would get to work and he would be trying to fix it. And in truth, I don't think he wanted to be in the house when I woke up because I wasn't that nice at this point in our marriage. Right? It's easier to blame your spouse when things are going wrong than take a look in the mirror. Well, me, on the other hand, as soon as the alarm clock would go off, I'd want to do this to it. And I would think about all the problems we had. I would think about the lien on the house, and I would think about the embarrassment that I felt, and the shame and the fear. And I felt so incredibly scared and overwhelmed. And so, as I would start to think, obviously the answer was pretty clear, I started to hit the snooze button. And so I developed this habit of hitting the snooze button, not once, not twice, but more like 4 or 5 times a day. Now, is that a big deal? Not really. But here's what I'm about to prove to you. In the scheme of life, it's not the big things, it's the little things that make a difference. You see, I don't think anybody ever wakes up and says, oh, you know what, today I'm just going to completely screw up my life. What ends up happening is you make these tiny, tiny, tiny 5-second decisions that you're not paying attention to, and slowly, 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 things go off course. And then you look up and suddenly you're not where you thought you were going to be. And then you wonder, well, how do I get back over there? I didn't know how to get back over there. I didn't know how to feel good about myself. I didn't know how to build a business again. I didn't know how to claw my way out of debt. I didn't even know how to get out of bed on time, for crying out loud. You know, we talk about this word, I love this word courage, right? It takes courage to do what you're doing. You hear the word courage and you think about the big stuff, and the truth of the matter is, courage is required for the little stuff. Courage is nothing more than the ability to do things that are difficult and scary. So how does the 5-second rule come into play? Well, here's the story behind it. One night, so frustrated with myself, I couldn't make myself change, and I saw this commercial come on, and it was a rocket ship, and I thought, oh my God, that's it. I'm just going to launch myself out of bed, you guys, like a rocket. I'm going to do it so fast I can't even think. That's the answer. So the next morning, I don't know why, but I listened, and I did this. I started counting like a rocket launch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then I stood up. It was the strangest thing. It was actually kind of stupid. The next morning, the alarm went off. I could feel the fear. I could feel the lien on the house. I could feel the bankruptcy approaching. I could feel no confidence. And I went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I stood up. And then I started to notice something really funny. Every single day, all day long, you're making 5-second decisions that you're not even aware of. And they're being made by doubt. They're being made by fear. They're being made by procrastination. And you have the power, just like I had the power, to take control in a 5-second window. Now, what I didn't know then, because what ended up happening is I started using the 5-second rule everywhere, to push myself to exercise, to push myself to claw our way out of debt, to push myself to be nice to Chris, my husband, instead of being a jerk. I started taking control 5 seconds at a time. And what I was doing, I didn't realize this now, but I'm going to explain this to you. I had discovered my stupid little rule, the 5-second rule. My stupid little rule is a metacognition technique, guys. That's a fancy word that means nothing more than you can use tricks to outsmart your brain. You can use tricks based in science to fight fear. You can use the 5-second rule. It's just the moment you have an instinct to act on a goal, because you guys are smart, you know what to do. The moment you have that instinct to do it, to get out of bed, to walk over to somebody and talk to them, to share your business, to make the ask, you have 5 seconds to move or your brain is going to kill it. Now, the first time I shared this was in a TED Talk. I only mentioned the rule in the end. I don't even give any proof about it. You know what happened? People started to write. This guy, every single day, using the rule right now. He's on pace to double his business. More importantly, he's been crowned the king of all dads by his kids. This guy, using the rule to call people that he'd be scared of. This gal, using it to make her team #1 in sales. This gal, using it to keep moving forward. This guy using it to train his staff. We know of 11 people who have stopped themselves from killing themselves. This guy was a veteran on a ferry over in London. And he was afraid. He was standing next to the railing and he was about to jump over. And the 5-second rule kicked in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and he moved. Moved, saved his life. I'm going to warn you. This rule has a domino effect. A domino effect. Because here's the deal. The more that you stop and think, the less likely you're going to do it. The more this kid stands there and stares over the edge, the less likely he's going to jump. What you need in life is the ability to push yourself. And what the 5-second rule is it's a rule based in science that teaches you how. You see, you're going to leave here super inspired. You're going to know exactly what you need to do. You're going to learn from the experts. You're going to have a roadmap. You're going to be so excited and so empowered and so educated. But when you get back to your life, it's up to you. Do you know how to push yourself? Well, this is how you're going to do it. You can use the rule in 3 ways, okay? You can use it to change any behavior in the moment. I'm going to show you examples of these. You can use it to find courage, to speak up, to show up, to do things you wouldn't normally do. You can use it for mind control. Let me show you how. So let's say that you've got a bunch of people that you want to talk to. You want to recruit. Excited. You go into the meeting, but they look at you like this. You're like, oh no, I'm not going to say anything today. They look like they're in a bad mood. I don't think I can do this today. Yes, you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Say it. The only thing holding you back from recruiting the team that you want, from going after the prospects that really could expand your life and business, is you. That 5-second hesitation, that's all that's holding you back. There is a 5-second window between the things that you know you should do and you actually doing them. Like this guy who learned about the 5-second rule, started a business, and he is now one of the top real estate agents for recruiting. Why? Because every time he sees somebody and has an instinct to talk to them about his business, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and he goes. Here's another way that you can use the rule. You know how we do that thing where you say to yourself, all right, that's it. Today I'm going to exercise, right? So you get on your exercise gear, and then you spend all day in your tights. Yes, I do that too. Or you get down to the kitchen and you're ready to, you got your joggers on and your sneakers on, and then you pick up your phone and, oh, look at that, 45 minutes later, I don't have time to do this anymore. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Blowing things off is a habit. If you've got 5 minutes, you can do a plank. I know, the advice is terrible, but you can still do it. Why am I telling you this? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because this is not a tool that's just about torturing you. It's a tool that unlocks the power in you. If you keep blowing off the little stuff 5 seconds at a time, how the heck can you do the big stuff? Right? And the truth about exercise, the truth about selling, the truth about building a business is the first step. The first step is the hardest. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 will get you out of bed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 will get you out the door. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's annoying, isn't it? Yeah. It's simple and it's annoying. Here's the most powerful way that you can use the rule. So, a lot of people look at me and they're like, oh, that chick must have been born like that, annoying and confident. No, not at all. Actually, I suffered from anxiety and panic attacks for 20 years. They started in my 20s, and when I started law school, that should have been a sign that I didn't want to be a lawyer, but I soldiered on. It got really bad when I had our first daughter. I was almost hospitalized. Postpartum depression was so bad. I took Zoloft for 20 years. And about 4 years ago, as I noticed that I went from facing bankruptcy and losing our home equity line and blowing through the life savings to now having a multi-million-dollar business and partnerships with CNN and Success Magazine. Yeah, incredible, right? And more importantly, a 20-year marriage that we just celebrated. So I started using this tool to change everything: my income, my business, my self-monitoring, being a nicer spouse, being a more patient parent. And I wondered, God, I wonder if I could use this thing to actually cure myself of anxiety. You can. Let me show you how. So I'm going to use an example that a lot of us share, which is the fear of flying, right? You know what I do when I get on a plane? The first thing I do, I think about the plane crashing. And then I think about that one photo. You know that photo that's floating around online of the plane? It's on the ground, but there's just that hole on the side of it, and one row got sucked right out of the thing, right? And I think, oh my gosh, I'm in that row. And then if we hit turbulence, what do? I start pulling out the phone and I think I'm texting the kids, because for crying out loud, if I'm going to die in a fiery plane crash, I better send them a great text before I die, because they got to do a PowerPoint, right? And I got to show the world that I was the best mom ever, even when I was facing death. I mean, it's ridiculous. We're all nuts. Absolutely nuts. So are you. You're giggling because you know you're nuts too. If I were to put a speaker on your head and broadcast you, we would drag you out of here and lock you up. You're insane. Here's the thing that's the problem. You listen to it. Panic is nothing more than worrying that's gotten out of control. That's all that it is. You can cure yourself of it. I'm telling you right now. All you have to do, the moment you notice that your mind goes from the prefrontal cortex to the basal ganglia, which is where your habit of anxiety and worrying and self-doubt is, all you got to do, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then redirect yourself to think about something empowering. If you're afraid of talking to people, so you got this big plan and you got the thing you're going to say and you're all excited, and then all of a sudden the second you see them, you start feeling deflated and scared and self-doubt, that is a habit. You can change how you think. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, awaken your prefrontal cortex and put in an anchor thought of your dreams. Put in an anchor thought of you high-fiving that person when they join your team. Put in an anchor thought of the 0, 0, 0, 0 zeros in your bank account, not the zero. This is so important. They study people at the end of their lives, and they ask them at Cornell University, what advice would you give to people? 1,200 people in nursing homes had the exact same piece of advice for you and me. Exact same. I wish I hadn't spent so much of my life worrying about things I couldn't control. I wish I hadn't wasted so much time doubting myself. I wish I had been the kind of person that stopped thinking and started doing. This is the science behind how you do it. When you catch yourself being distracted, when you catch yourself thinking things that do not align with your dreams, you push yourself to change them. This is a gal that heard me speak and then had to fly home, and boom, she used it. First time on a flight she was ever not having a panic attack. You can use this immediately. The fact is, 5 seconds changes everything. It changes your business. There was a guy in a coffee shop in Santa Monica in 1993 who had an impulse. Every time it was hot, they lost business. So he got a blender and he started blending things. His name was Greg Rogers. VP walks in a month later and he hands him a taste of it. A year later, the first Frappuccino rolled out in that store. That's right. It was Starbucks, 1993 in Santa Monica. 5-second decision. Get a blender. Try this out. Change that business. Frappuccinos are 20% of their income. 5-second decision changes history. Yesterday was the 61st anniversary of a 5-second decision by this woman, Rosa Parks. That's right. She boarded a bus, Cleveland Street bus in Montgomery, Alabama. She wasn't thinking about doing anything. She was thinking about getting home after a long day of work. When she was asked to move from her seat, she didn't stop and think. She just pushed herself to say no. As you know, she was arrested. She was charged. By the way, that also led to a 26-year-old preacher, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., being named the head of the Montgomery Improvement Association 3 days later. 5-second decisions change everything. The bus boycott ensued. This is her sitting on the bus when the Supreme Court had overturned the segregation laws 1 year later. You have no idea what you can change. You can change everything that matters. This was the most shared story on Facebook last year. That's Todd and his daughter, Bridget. This is her wedding day. Now, what you can't tell from this photo is that it's been a decade of disaster for this family. Todd and Brittany's mom got divorced. They've been fighting like crazy, restraining orders, custody battles. So Todd is walking up the aisle and he has this instinct. Today I'm going to change this family. He doesn't stop and think. What he does is he turns around, he makes a 5-second decision and grabs this guy, a man he hates. This is Brittany's stepdad. They've been fighting for 10 years. Look at how surprised that lady is. She's like, I thought there was a restraining order in place. He invited him to walk their daughter up the aisle. Yes, now listen. 5 seconds. It's all you got. It's all you need. And it changes the most important stuff. It certainly changed this family. The moment you have an instinct to act on a goal, you have just 5 seconds before your brain kills it. So whether you want to finally start working on that idea that you have for a nonprofit, or simply get your butt out of bed and get to the gym because you said you would. Or maybe it's time for you, even though you're 44, to finish your degree. Or something more profound. This is James. You heard me speak and talk about the 5-second rule just a couple months ago. And that story about Steve, the veteran on the ferry in London, really got to him. You see, his brother, his baby brother, killed himself a year ago. And what James realized is that he had stopped living himself. He had stopped running. That was his time. It was his time to think when he was running marathons. And so he 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 made a decision. That's his brother Patrick, that he would start running again. This time to raise money to stop suicide in veterans. If you can count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you can change your life. You can grow your business. You're never too tired. You're never too old. You're never not good enough. All you need is 5 seconds to change absolutely anything.
If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?
All I want is nothing more. Could you hear those words? If I could see your face once more.
When you die, it does not mean that you lose to cancer. You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and in the manner in which you live.
You've given me the most precious moment. I'm getting to be an old man. I need memories like this.
It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all.
Take my body. Take my body. You're always doing what's in your heart. You can't get away from your heart. Find somebody.
Taught me to believe in myself, that I could do it when I didn't think I could do it.
It's been an incredible journey.
Bye, everybody. Please use it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.